And welcome back. Last week, the Suffolk County Police Commissioner testified in Washington that the Central American gang MS-13 was responsible for dozens of murders the last few years, including 2 teen girls brutally beaten to death. Police say the gang has successfully infiltrated several Long Island communities, terrorizing residents, their families, and school children. The state Senate passed new legislation this year targeting gangs by their affiliation and gang markings, but the Assembly Speaker called the proposed legislation overly broad. Joining us now is New York State Republican Assemblyman Michael Fitzpatrick from Smithtown, and welcome to the show, Assemblyman.
Richard, great to be here. Thank you.
So is the state Senate bill dead on arrival in the state Assembly?
Well, it was referred to the Codes Committee back in February, and it has languished there. So it is up to Speaker Heastie to let that bill out of committee so it can be reported to the floor.
What are you hearing would be the objections as to why it's not coming out?
Well, he has stated, as you said, he thinks it's overly broad, and he also believes the sentences are too harsh, and that education is a better approach. I think he is wrong. I think you do need harsh penalties, and there is unanimity in terms of a belief that more education and reaching out to young people to discourage them from this kind of activity is necessary.
Well, and if you feel that way, how come there's not a Republican bill?
Well, there is a Republican bill.
I mean, how come it hasn't been introduced? He won't allow it to be introduced.
Well, it has been introduced. It gets referred to codes, and it dies in committee.
So it doesn't go anywhere.
Right.
You know, is that... there's a divide on this, no question about it. You see that some people say it's more about education, and then you hear some folks saying this could allow the police to return to some practices that perhaps we don't want, where they just look at somebody in a community and they see a gang marking, and
well,
now you're being pulled over or talked to.
Well,
when most people who have tattoos or markings are not in gangs.
Well, the police department and those involved in the gang task force know who these people are. They know the markings. Yes, there is a concern based on past practice by the police in New York City and out on Suffolk County. There have been problems in the Hispanic community. I believe those problems have been resolved. They've been addressed. But are we going to sit back and do nothing because we're afraid of maybe hurting the feelings of a few people? Or are we going to be smart about this and take a very harsh approach to gang activity and also deal with the education aspect?
Yeah, because one police officer said to me, if a guy has MS-13 all across his chest and his neck, his arms, and his head, am I not supposed to believe he's MS-13?
Right, exactly. That's political correctness is run amok sometimes.
But then, you know, it can also be localized in a lot of ways, because I was a little bit surprised last week. Democratic Suffolk legislator Monica Martina was on the show with the same topic, and she said she supports a bigger police crackdown. So is it a partisan issue, or is there a consensus, at least on Long Island, that these tougher law enforcement tools are needed?
I don't believe it is a partisan issue at all, Richard, because I can tell you when someone like Monica Martinez, who represents that community, says she would support it, there are people in the Hispanic community who believe this is important and should be cracked down. Well, however,
yes.
My wife is from Mexico. She has worked in Central Islip in one of the schools there, a private school, for over almost 23, 24 years. And she comes home and tells me stories about what they see there. And what's interesting is when a child is possibly up for expulsion due to their behavior, parents will come in begging and screaming, pleading with the administration of the school where she works not to let those kids, not to send them back to public schools because of the concerns like we have here with MS-13.
Well, what are we going to do about that? Because that goes beyond any political debate. We want our kids to be safe in the schools.
Right, right. Well, as part of this legislation, there is 40% of the assets that are seized due to this criminal activity would go into a new fund that would pay for programs, outreach programs in the schools. Also, the Department of Education will design curriculum that will help these children avoid this kind of...
So it's not just more police and a crackdown, it's also more education anyway.
Absolutely.
So there's at least some agreement that those have to be the parameters. You know, you also have the political dimension of immigration overshadowing all of this too, because you have the police commissioner testifying in Washington that some of the gang members are here illegally and that others came in as unescorted minors, maybe even trying to exploit that program. What do we do about that? Because the great majority are not.
Well, the majority are not, but you do have to deal with the minority that are. So the politics of this does get very tricky, but you can't avoid or ignore the politics of this. Look, the overwhelming majority of victims here are Hispanic. They reside in those communities, and they are targets of these people. As legislator Martinez said last week, she supports this legislation. So you have to have a two-pronged approach. Yes, education is good. You want to discourage children from looking at this as a possible option. Yes, there are kids from broken homes, unaccompanied minors who are looking for a parental guidance or the guidance of older people to help them on their path through life. You need that kind of help. But when they get involved in this activity, the brutality of these crimes, Richard, require a harsh response.
They have been brutal. You know, what few details the police tell us, it's stuff you don't even report because it is that brutal.
Right.
You know, so then you have this problem. What about the education in the schools? You know, in the city, they have anti-gang programs as early as elementary school. Do we need that on Long Island? And where should you start? What level?
Well, you have to start very early. You really do. You know, whatever they're doing in the city, I would agree that at that same age level, we ought to start doing it here also.
Well, some parents are going to say, I don't want to scare my kids. You know, my 8-year-old kid should hear about gangs. I mean, what level do you start?
Well, there are, you know, the professionals in education know how to deal with these issues in an age-appropriate manner to make the children aware and help them and provide outlets for them to seek help when they are involved or potentially involved in that kind of activity.
Well, it is the world we live in, and so we have to deal with the situation as it occurs, sadly to say.
Indeed.
Well, thank you for talking with us today, State Assemblyman Michael Fitzpatrick from Smithtown. Thanks for stopping in and talk about what to be done about the MS-13 gang threat.